welcome everybody. I'm the Padre, and it's the Pritch, and
Welcome to Padre and Pritch.
Yeah, 30 minutes of our conversation. It's going now across the nation and around the world, and back again to slap us in the face. So today I was thinking about doing, because we're all about helping others, and there's so many different ways you can do that, and I'm drawn to this Latin expression, to serve or to help. In Latin, servare, S-E-R-V-A-R-E, means to serve. And if you go, that's the active voice. And this is an English grammar lesson. The passive voice,
stuff I flunked in the seminary.
S-E-R-V-A-R-I, ends in I. And it's people that are always trying to serve themselves, that miss so much. So the difference between active and passive is to serve and to be served. And there's a story in the scripture about the young man, and Jesus said, well, he says, what do I do? And he said, well, keep the commandments. And Jesus tells him all these things, honor your father, your mother, etc. He said, well, I've done all that. And he said, well, then give away what you have to the poor and follow me. And then the guy realized he just couldn't do that. Couldn't do it. So he walked away sad. And it happens to, so, you know, there are people that have plenty to live on, but nothing to live for.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know them, I know them. We see them, they come to us, they ask for advice or counsel. They want to do more with who they are and what they have. And I was telling Pritch that I was at a fundraiser the other night. I could not believe how people would raise to give more money. And it was a worthy cause. I mean, it was for the homeless and a soup kitchen that's open 365 days a year.
St. Vincent's, right?
Yeah. And I mean, they do fabulous in that. So many people that they feed and are able to satisfy. So, but the people in gowns and tuxedos, sipping wine and smoking cigars, and you have to say, well, here are people that they've got plenty to live on, and give them a chance to raise that paddle.
The paddle.
Because if they know the money's going to go to something they couldn't do, which I always like to point out to people that say, well, they have so much money, they don't need it. But if they give it away, or there are things that people who are wealthy can't do. Right. They got wealthy because they either had a silver spoon, you know, or come from a family, or they worked their buns off to get the wealth.
Hard-earned sweat equity.
Yeah, and
I honor
it. Now they're at that point, and they, you know, they just can't bend over to help somebody off the street. Right. Or, you see them. Oh yeah. And we have to give those people credit.
Yeah, their generosity has, you know, like $1 million raised in an evening for any event in short order, because we did that not too long ago, kind of very close to that for loaves and fishes, and I think what we realize is that there are generous people out there, and they should be lauded, and we should be grateful for them, because they are the fuel for the wheel that turns to be able to feed and help the suffering out there. And if we are wise, we honor that. Like, you know, it's one thing to assume things that the wealthy are indifferent. A great teacher, Elie Wiesel, said, hate is not the enemy of love. It is really more indifference, not caring what happens to others. So I always try to express to folks, if you're generous because this is what you can do, and you know as we age, and I know I can't do what I used to do on the streets. I remember working for Salvation Army on the streets with John Garcia and Judy Vaughn. And when Robin and I did a show, it was a hilarious moment. One of the old timers, when we were walking out, he says, "Hey, Mr. Mike, thanks for coming here, because near as I can figure out, you and Robin came down. Everybody wants to do something for us, but hardly anybody wants to do anything with us." So I don't mind doing things with people. And the whole of Robin Williams' HBO, helping the homeless with Whoopi and with
Jewish guy from New York.
Yeah, he's a great guy too.
Yeah,
he did. Those three built comedy as an epic platform to give back to the community. Billy Crystal. And so what I think is powerful is if we empower artists, musicians, theater, music, art, comedy, actors, waking up to the fact that we can shift and gift and lift the homeless and suffering out there by inspiring the wealthy, the privileged, the disconnected at times, and no intention to put them down, because sometimes folks, they get disconnected. They're not aware that there's a need. But there's a generosity out there, I think, that we look back to the awakening of Ebenezer Scrooge in the Dickens Christmas Carol. At that, three spirits showed up. One showed him, this is what you used to be like. This is who you are now, but this is who you could become. And helping them understand the importance of that. That to me is what our job as artists, ad majorem Dei gloriam, as the Jesuits would say, all for the greater glory of God. We pull artists together. The art community, I've been doing a lot of work with Grant's Crusade and Ave Maria Communications in Florida, just helping to bring neurodiverse kids into from poverty circumstances, that we can, because of this, because of what we're doing today with Connor, is being director at the screen, we have an opportunity to touch the world. We can get out. This kind of show can go all over the world, and you can touch hearts, and you can touch spirits.
But that won't get you a front row seat.
I'll tell you what will, though. I'll tell you what will. The front row seat comes from the karma, right? Whatever you want to call it. We don't have a term for karma in Catholic, do we?
Grace.
Grace. Okay. All right.
I mean, that would be mine.
Right.
So the King of Sweden and his wife, this is a true story,
Okay.
are going to a hockey game because Sweden is in the finals. When was the last Olympics in Canada? Whatever year that was.
Oh, okay.
So the Queen and the King come in, and they forget their tickets. Their tickets are in the car. So the ticket taker, she says, "Don't you know who we are?" He says, "I'm the King of Sweden, and Sweden is playing for the finals here tonight in hockey." Yeah, right, buddy, right. he looks at the Queen of Sweden and says, "I guess you're the Queen, huh?" Now, the story doesn't end there. They go out to the car to get the tickets, and their car's been towed. So the King of Sweden is watching the hockey game on the television.
In the hotel room.
Yeah. I mean, what you think you're really important? I think that's the point I was trying to make.
No.
You never know what's going to happen, or some people don't. They don't know who's important and who's not important.
Can I share with you the Great Sweden story that is similar? You probably didn't know this. I don't know if you do, but there was a guy named Alfred Nobel that read his own obituary in the nitro, and it shocked him to discover that he was going to be remembered for time in memoriam as the inventor of nitroglycerin and dynamite. Actually, what had happened is his brother had passed away. and they put his obituary into his brother's newspaper article. So he was appalled, and he went out and created the Nobel Prize so that it would be just as important that he had created in chemistry a wonderful, wonderful, thing to be able to deconstruct things with nitroglycerin and dynamite, but it could have been used in war. And he created a Nobel Peace Prize, because he got to see, back to the original story, you got to see what you were going to be considered as. Do you think that was an accident that he and Ebenezer Scrooge in history got to see? Now, Scrooge was a fictional character, but really not so much. And
No, Mike, I don't want to break you. The Christmas Carol is a fictional.
Santa Claus isn't real?
No, I'm sorry. And the Tooth Fairy, but you can still believe in the bunny rabbit if you like. It's an Easter thing.
I'm flummoxed. I'm crushed now. You've hurt me to the quick.
All right, finish.
Anyway, folks, just remind yourself that it's two idiots that were seminarians at one point. So just picture us out on some
One
deal.
state has
Yes, with drool coming down. Hey, Santa Claus isn't real. Anyway, so what I was going to say is that, if you see the second part of a movie called The Man Who Invented Christmas about Dickens, it was real. He met these people. They were characters as a journalist that he interviewed. And he constructed them into what you see even now in America. If you have folks out there, and Clint Eastwood took it on in the movie Hereafter as a director with young Matt Damon playing a psychic from San Francisco. Pretty powerful film. But it was about, if we look around and we think about as we age, we become closer towards the end of it all. Shouldn't we awaken to the fact that we can do more for folks than allowing it to go over? Because now, I don't know if you've seen the big controversies over trusts and wills and what's going on with the big battles with celebrities being held in abeyance with trust.
Well, the girl's father, she just got fired by the judge.
Britney Spears. Right, yeah. And if you can, go back in time through many folks who had brain issues being guarded by folks with if they had dementia, and the trust would take over to guard their wealth, and then there would be squabbles. And I was in court in San Mateo watching a squabble between all these folks because the man had passed away and he'd left $7 million in real estate, and the attorneys were arguing incessantly, and it was draining everything out. And what you really want to point out to is do some good, folks. Do some good with your wealth and do some good with your privilege. Do everything you can to help make it easier on others. And that's that grace, that karma, that whatever we talk about, because that my theory has been over the years as I've watched life, you get more blessed by that. Am I wrong?
No. And that's why I put you in my will. Because I know you're going to say, what? He left me what? Doesn't he know that I have grandchildren and a life to live and I need an operation on my knee? And he left me 2 old Bibles. One's in Latin. I can't read it.
Yeah, the funny part of this is he's not kidding. So I'll be as broke as the 10 Commandments in Vegas, folks, before I get a penny from anyway. But here's the thing. I think back, and like you're talking about, how many people you have baptized given first communion to, it confirmed and last rites to, mud, water, and rice. And you're a great priest, but you think about what you get to see, and all of those things that you watch reveal themselves, and the wisdom the Solomonic wisdom that bears you, and it's hard, I think, right?
No, it's as I get older, when I was a younger guy, baptisms were because you had them and they were in bigger numbers. They were a chore. Now I look in those little eyes.
Right.
These little baby, they don't make ugly babies anymore.
Yeah, they are gorgeous. I'm with you.
I see these little kids, and I had just a week ago 2 of them, and I couldn't believe it. Now I'm going to have the other one, the Peter, who has the service dog.
Yeah.
His daughter has that little baby.
That little baby. Yeah.
It's like this.
Yeah.
I'm going to baptize that baby this Sunday. So, but you look in those children's eyes, and for me, I haven't had the same motivation to do something for the younger generation as you do. When you're a father and a grandfather, you think, I got to do something for these kids so that it doesn't end up, they're not struggling and fighting. They're not up against the continuation of COVID or
Right.
a drought or war with another nation or nations, or you have a motivation there because of your children.
Right.
It's hard for me as a priest because they're not really my children.
Right. I understand.
And it's hard for me to build up and to have the same human emotion and feeling that you would have.
Yes.
Or that fathers and mothers have for their children. Right. I know both of my brothers who have passed away used to say that often, you got no worries, you're up there in the seminary, you're going to be a priest, you got no problems at all.
Yeah, but
but you you get to get into families a little bit,
right?
But you don't, and I say a little bit because rarely are you in there full bore,
right?
Where you understand completely their familial problems or their challenges, right. And where you're able to make a real difference in what's going to result from how they handle.
Yeah, but Harry, you have done exactly that. You have been an integral part of my family. When I called you and Connor, who's now 6'4" and 260 pounds of yoked steel, and he was in the intensive care unit at 16 months, you came and you blessed him. And I think that over the years, you married us, you baptized the kids, you are part of the family, and that is a reward in itself to watch you be watching these families grow. And you just performed weddings for huge, big families, and baptisms and confirmations, and then I guess probably the wisdom that you gather most is sometimes at the funerals. Yeah. And you see how it is, and it's certainly part of teaching us what truly is important: family love, connection, the teamwork of a kid playing sports. To me, I look back and I think back of my Catholic years when I was a kid growing up at St. Sebastian's in St. Louis, in a suburb, and on midnight mass it was packed to the rafters. And the singing was just like our singing right now at St. Vincent's. It was gorgeous. It was people singing together. We had a beautiful singer up there now, and she's amazing. And watching people sing and praise God together, and it connects you to that greater good of just the prayer time alone is what I think anchors us. And having good leadership, good spiritual leadership, and you're a gentle and good soul. And so I think I think you're hard on yourself about that because you're certainly important to our family.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I know, and I can be, and it's just that as an individual, I don't feel it the same way.
Right. I
You
understand
know,
that.
I can't put notches in my gun that, this is what I've accomplished. That sounded good.
And we're moving along.
I didn't mean to say that.
No,
But I was thinking about, I had a story that I read, and I have to look, there was a colonel in the Civil War named Josh Chamberlain. And he...
Very famous. Gettysburg.
Oh, see, you
Know him
know,
well.
well, my goodness, why? Well, you want to tell the story? Or
No,
not?
go, please.
Well, he was ordered to shoot 120 traitors from the Union Army.
Right.
They were running away, and deserters.
Right.
So he was told by the general, don't let anyone go home.
Yeah.
So he had to make a decision right away. So he said to his men, he said, well, first unshackle them, take the irons off, and give them something to eat. So they fed them, and then he said, now we're going to listen to you. And this is a quote which I like.
Yeah.
He said, this is Colonel Chamberlain, this is free ground all the way to the ocean. Here we judge you by what you do, not where you come from. It's not the land, it's we who have value. I never saw dirt that I would die for. We're all in this together. So I didn't realize that you know about Josh Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Well, the end of the story is that he goes to Gettysburg. He wins that battle, turns the tide for the Union, and with the help, 116 out of 120 deserters stayed with him, followed him,
All the
fought
way
for him.
through. Yeah.
All the way through.
He won the Congressional Medal of Honor, and he went back to Bowdoin College in Maine. He was from the Maine. And he went back to Bowdoin College to teach philosophy. And he had such what was in those days called melancholia. I did a research program on this because they made a movie, and Ted Turner did a movie about it called Gettysburg. He did 1 and 2. Was phenomenal because it was instructive about that. I've been back to Gettysburg.
Was Chamberlain, was he portrayed in that?
He was portrayed in that by Jeff Daniels, who just recently is in a new movie called Comey Rule, and he lives up in Michigan. Jeff Daniels, a phenomenal actor, and you know he's diverse when he can play Dumb and Dumber, and then Joshua Chamberlain and the director of the FBI in the same career. But what was amazing about him was I've been to Gettysburg many times speaking to the kids at Gettysburg University. I would go back up all the time and speak there, and I quoted a poem by a great poet about the Civil War, and it was.
When you say great, your mind is trying to find out who this poet was.
No, I actually quote him all the time. He said, and listen to this poem.
Okay.
And in despair, I'd hang my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song. Peace on earth, goodwill to men. But then I heard the bell peal loud and deep. God is not dead, nor does he sleep. The wrong shall fail, and the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. I think that if we are wise, we take these words right now, when people are arguing incessantly at school boards, when people are toxified, and I'm hired to go down and speak at a school in Pacifica tomorrow because there's been teasing and tormenting and bullying, and we got to talk to the adults, the community, the political leaders. We've got to talk to everybody.
Well, and when they hire you for that, you go to the kids first?
Yes.
So they have like an assembly?
We're going to do the K through 3 and talk to the little kids, which is so fun because they're so. And I get them up to share, and and what hurts, what has been said to them, what are the wounded things that has hurt them, and then I ask them to ask for mercy, to ask for compassion, to ask for understanding. I think best put, Father, was I said, boys and girls, don't overstand people. And one of the kids goes, yeah, don't you think understanding is more important? It's like a third grade. I go, yeah, understanding. Don't overstand, understand, and understand. And so when you do that, Longfellow, who wrote that poem, it was sung by a great singer by the name of Kate Smith. I don't know if you remember Kate Smith. She sang "God Bless America," and then she sang this, and it's a Christmas song. And in despair, I'd hang my head. Peace on earth, goodwill to men. And I think that what's powerful is that if we reflect as a nation and take a moment to pump the brakes from our rage. I tell everybody what the problem with America is right now, what we need help with more than anything. We all need anger rehab. And that means to just slow the pace of life down and become more reflective over what really is important. And when you see that big Irish Catholic fireman board the truck and he kisses his little Down syndrome daughter before he goes out on a call, and he's willing to risk his life and give his life for yours and your families, and he'll go through walls with an axe, and he'll bring hoses, and he would do anything to get to communion on Sunday, and sometimes they make it, and on 9/11 a lot didn't. But what we need to get more than anything is we need each other, because there's enough stuff out there during the fires that we have here and the violence that we're having, and sometimes during the COVID, we need each other.
Yeah.
So get a grip, right?
Right. So
Church together, pray together, laugh together, share together, chow together.
I've just read about somebody said, you know, Father, you take that bread and wine and you change that wine into the blood of Christ. You really believe that? And I said, yeah, I do. He said, well, why don't you do something for the drought here in Northern California? You think you could go up north and change that wine into water?
That's all over Napa and Sonoma right now.
Just make the switch. Solve the drought problem.
It's a miracle! Well, if you get around the Native Americans, I saw a shaman not too long ago. He's hilarious. He goes, don't worry, the healing waters are coming. And I go, you mean like rain? And he goes, yes, we'll be blessed in California. We're good people. Oh, wow, okay. I buy in.
Well, were you at the casino?
That's not a...
You just laid a $100 bill.
There's a guy from Jersey running it. He's Catholic too.
His
Anyway.
nose is crooked.
But his smile isn't. It's perfect, you know. Anyway, all right. It was good, man.
What? We're not out of time, are we? Oh, we are. Well, you must have been long, dude.
Oh, well, you know what it was? It was good.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah, it went fast. Thank you very much. I'm the Padre. He's the Pritch. We'll see you again.
Folks, take care. God bless. Safe day and safe Sunday coming up.
Go Giants.
Go Giants! Woo!